And we're going to talk to a bloke that's very popular. It's a great segment, historyouthere.com. It's Harold the H. Peacock. G'day, Harold.
G'day, Danny. How you going?
Oh, mate, fantastic. We do get a great feed. A big shout out to George. He loves you. George.
Oh, he's a great man, George, yeah.
He loves it. He gets a giggle. Now, the OBE and the Ipswich Dunny, could you explain that, please?
Yeah, this is the story of two Ipswich brothers, Francis Hardwick Phillips and Alfred Gordon Gore Phillips. Now, I found them thanks to Kelly, who on Instagram as Sunshine State Home is documenting her home renovation at Bouval.
Right.
Now, their father was Fred Phillips, who came to Australia from England in about 1868 and settled here in Ipswich. And from 16 years of age, he worked for Crib and Foot for an amazing 55 years.
Right.
Now, the older son, Francis, was one of the first to enlist in the First World War and served with the 2nd Light Horse Regiment in Gallipoli and then the Camel Field Ambulance in Palestine. He finished with the rank of captain, was a hero having been mentioned in dispatches and recommended for a military cross, and he was awarded an Order of the British Empire for his service.
Wow.
Now, this was an OBE for Ipswich, Danny, that no one knows about.
Really?
Now, the connection to Kelly's house starts when Francis got married in 1921, when he bought 3 blocks of land at Bouval.
Right.
He moved to Brisbane in 1924 to set up his own chemist shop.
Right.
And that's when his younger brother, Gore, took over 2 of the blocks. And in 29, he himself got married and built the house that Kelly has today. Now, Gore had enlisted in the First World War. He worked as an electrical fitter. Between the wars, he moved into his house.
Right.
Now, come the Second World War, he enlisted again and served with the Volunteer Defence Corps, which is like, it's like the Home Guard in Dad's Army.
Yeah.
Now, Kelly, who now has the house, found out that during the war, Gore looked after soldiers on leave by hosting them at his home.
Right.
Now, this is where archaeology and mine lab metal detecting take over the story.
Right.
Because I found a handful of halfpennies, pennies and a sixpence from the 1930s, 40s and 50s.
Right.
And it was out the back of the house where old pennies started popping out of the ground.
Right.
Then there was a press stud from an old pair of trousers.
Right.
And best of all was a World War II Army shoulder badge.
Right.
And these were right in front of the old backyard outhouse, which is still there today. So, Danny, the coins, trousers, army badge had evidently been lost as the soldiers on leave were racing to the dunny.
We're dropping their pants.
Exactly right. And so this is one of those beautiful times where the archaeology of a site tells the stories of the people who were actually there. And in this case, Australian soldiers being hosted at an Ipswich house, the site of which even boasts a connection to an unknown OBE for Ipswich.
Mate, you know what? You're a really good storyteller, and way you tell a story, it's concise, it's got plenty of meat to it, and you find out so many unusual facts, and there's so much more to find out about Ipswich, historyouthere.com. You won't believe it. We talked to Jack Sim today from the Bogger Road Jail and Ipswich Cemetery Tours, and he told us a story about the statue of Benjamin Cribb from Crib and Foot. And when he died, they had a statue of him, and when they had board meetings, they put him at the top end of the table, and they'd make a decision and then look to the statue for...
Well, if Crib and Foot was still here today, I'm sure he'd still be running the show too.
It'd be a bit like a weekend at Bernie's, mate. All right, Look, how do we find out more about the Ipswich history?
Yeah, hop online and go to www.historyouthere.com, and there's loads there, and I'm updating it every week. Harry
H. Peacock, great having you on the program. He'll come up with another great story about Ipswich here on West Bremer Radio next week at 8:16. We're live.